The FNRad Snowboard Podcast is presented by Skyview Campers, Never Summer's innovative take on the tiny home. Designed and built in beautiful Colorado, check out skyviewcampers.com. Wired Snowboards builds quality snowboards by hand 10 minutes away from my house. Visit wiredsnowboards.com and order one today. Fixed bindings are easy to adjust, long-lasting, high-performance bindings built to have less impact on the environment. Check out fixedbindingco.com. Rip Curl outerwear, strength, durability, and performance. Designed to search further in the snow, head to ripcurl.com and check out the Anti-Series jacket. I can't wait to rock this thing. New Greens, 100% organic, vibrant green juice. Buy yourself some at newgreens.com and use code FNRad at checkout for 20% off. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop, best selection, best prices, Vancouver's premier snowboard shop. The Boardroom ships to anywhere in North America, so go to boardroomshop.com or visit their stores in Vancouver and North Van. Support also comes from Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, Cypress Mountain, the Pro Standard GoPro accessories, and our friends at 1910. You can use code FNRad at checkout for 20% off at 1910.com. The Haven's a center for transformational learning located on beautiful Gabriola Island. Plan a visit at haven.ca and use code FNRad at checkout to save 10% off their Come Alive program. I've been working on a Scott Clum episode for a couple of seasons. We recorded a half episode over the phone pre-video, but we didn't get it done, so in the meantime, here's a mini bonus with Scott. He's the man behind the Sims Triangle logo, he's an original East Coast Sims rider, and Scott was instrumental in the development of snowboarding during those foundational years. He also happens to be one of the nicest people I've met through the show. Please enjoy this interview with Scott Clum.
I met Tom in late 81. Yeah. And we started off really snowboarding, and I picked him up in Albany, and we went to the early Burton contest at like a Snow Valley.
81?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's wicked early.
Yeah. And so we really just hit it off, and then he realized like I was a vert skater too, and so, you know, he would send me stuff to ride on the vert ramps because skating was kind of, you know, losing its foothold, so ramps were coming up. And this and that and the other thing. And anyway, so Tom and I's relationship really started back east.
Okay.
Which is...
Where was he at that time? Was he already out here?
He was in Santa Barbara.
He was... that was like the tail end of the Chuck Barfoot, like...
That's correct.
Living in a commune and doing the whole thing.
Yes, yes.
And where were you living?
So I was living in upstate New York. And I was just finishing art school.
Yeah.
Or no, I was finishing high school.
Right.
And then so So Tom and I had this relationship where he would come out to the East Coast, and I would pick him up in Albany, and we would do all the Burton contests, you know?
Right.
And it was awesome because...
So you'd be the weird guys on the Sims boards, and everybody else is on
really
Burton.
True.
Yeah.
That's really true.
Yeah.
There were two guys I remember. Keith Kimmel had a Sims back then.
Sick.
And Eric Moynier. Eric, if you ever see this, shout out to you, brother, because you were there.
That's dope.
And Alan Armbruster was there. And then later, Terry Kidwell and Joel Gomez came out after that. But Tom and I's relationship started off really in those early contests. And then... I started, you know, very casually representing him as an amateur vert skateboarder. You know, nothing big. I don't want to make it into anything it's not.
Right.
And then
you saw that as a possible career path. You're like, maybe I could be a.
No,
promoter.
I didn't. I really didn't.
You just believed in the kid.
Yeah, as a kid, I was just stoked on skateboarding, and a lot of my East Coast friends were, you know, we did it. We traveled like we've been saying all weekend. It's like way back when. That's how we did stuff. We wrote letters, man, and there were zines Like Evan told me, like when Evan and I were talking about this yesterday, he's like, you didn't know when you're going to see your buddy next. It's like, if you made a date to see them April 27th, you had to be there because there was no, you know.
There's no other way of.
Yeah. We would call people, collect, whatever we had to do. Right.
You don't, I just was reminded of this the other day that you couldn't call the next town over. That was long distance.
Yeah.
I
didn't have any money.
Yeah. Now I can call you in California
totally.
and it's just like a regular phone call. But it was like $30 that you didn't have. Your parents would be like, what the fuck? You called
That's true.
Where?
Scott, what's this thing on the fucking phone bill? Like what? But so that's how it went. And so Tom and I's early relationship was like that, and you know, I went and got my degree in fine art and in advertising, and when I was done, Tom's like, you got to come to Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
And so that's what really kicked things off in '85.
Give me like, walk me through a day of, you're in Santa Barbara and you've heard there's snow up here, and you and Tom or Chuck and whoever is like, let's go. Yeah. We're going.
So here's the thing. This will be a good analogy. So Tom would take off and come up. I would end up going to Big Bear or whatever. But there were times we would get a hold of Mike Chantry and we would all come up and test boards. And that's where all those great shots from Bud Fawcett and the great footage from Mike Chantry came from, which is right around the corner at the Donner Quarter Pipe.
Yep.
So we did a lot of testing. And Jeff Fulton said a beautiful thing yesterday. He was like, Scott, he goes, I always felt like this snowboarding freestyle started right here.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with that because of Terry, Eleanor Brewster, Chantry, Joel, Damian Sanders, you know,
Palmer.
Keith, myself, Paul, of course, Sean. Things went down, Eric, that will never, ever, people don't even know. It's great.
Of course. So you're coming up here. Tom's already been up here.
Yeah.
You're riding the new stuff, so you're like excited.
Yeah.
Hey, next year's shit.
Yeah.
People are probably taking a look like, what the hell is that?
They
oh
did.
My God. Yeah. So you're like celebrities up here.
Kinda.
And then you go in for dinner to meet your buddy, and it's fucking Tom Sand.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Tom would show up and everybody would be like, you know, they would really like walk out of their way to say, hey.
Of course.
But truth be told, Eric, like, I will, you know, I never really talked about this too much, but in Santa Barbara, Keith Wells and myself and, Jeff Grell, we made all those prototypes.
Right.
So all of us rode one-off boards.
Unreal.
Just crazy.
Unreal.
And Terry had the most amazing boards. Tom had the most amazing boards.
Right.
We hand-built all that stuff, and Tom would come down and work on stuff, and so would Weave.
Yeah.
So what we brought up here was, you know, game-changing.
Yeah.
It really was.
Dave
it was amazing.
the Wave Weaver.
Dave the Wave.
I just heard about the tripod thing. I can't wait to talk to him about that. Unbelievable.
I love him, man.
Yeah.
I have to say, seeing you up here amongst all the stuff, because I really want to tip my hat to you, man. You do so
thanks.
much stuff for snowboarding. You interview the hottest cats, and you do the coolest stuff. I mean, and dude, you were out there. We were riding POW together 2 days ago. It's
Dude,
like,
that's what I needed. That's 100% what I needed, was to see that Tom Shea rips. It's like
Tom Shea rips.
Yeah, to see that Tom Shea rips. That's a shirt. That's got to be a Gomez shirt. Tom Shea rips.
You got to.
Yeah,
that's it.
It has to, because of course we all bow down to Tom Shea. He made the first magazine.
Yep.
But he fucking rips.
Tom rips.
And that is the divider for me, is that I'm at this event and every single one of you big name Tahoe legends also fucking shreds.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
that's insane to me.
Thank you, man. Eric, that means a lot.
What a crew we had on that Chair 3, and you're just watching people just
dumb.
and everybody's just pounding down these fucking runs, and I'm going, I can't. This is unfucking believable,
Isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
I'm still a fanboy. I'm watching Keith Kimmel making turns, and I'm like, whoa. Like, whoa, that's Keith Kimmel.
I want to turn like that.
So, no, it's been a real blessing, honestly, and to see everybody. And I feel like it never sank in from those days. I tell my family, like, God, I don't know. Is that me? I'm not really sure. And then guys like you come back around or whatever, or, Chantry put it on the legend stuff, and it reminds me of back then, and it reminds me of how much I love all these guys. And then, like, the new guys like you come up, and like, oh, wow, now you're part of the crew.
It's funny that I'm a new guy because I'm 50. Like, but there are guys like me around the world that looked up to this California scene that really, it wasn't until Craig from the Pacific Northwest who was competing with you guys down here and trying his best to emanate like the coolness of a Kidwell, that flow, that style, that overall champion. Then he goes east, brings what the missing piece for the Burton guys. No offense to any of those amazing riders that were already there, but and just transforms this whole thing into something that was just like everybody saw it and went, that's the thing.
Well, that's a good statement. Craig really had a mind of his own. I think that we were all really respected, I mean, and I think Craig took, Tom was really big on hand selecting his team, and everybody he selected was a ripper. Like either they were skating or they were really fucking good on snowboards.
Yep.
Craig, you know, BMXer.
Yep.
Washington guy with my man Fulton. You know, all of us guys were tight, but Craig, I always felt redefined how you could ride Terry's board. Terry and Sean, hey man, you know, those guys know I love them, but I just want to say, you know, Craig brought in a different form to how he wanted to ride that model.
Yeah, man.
So
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever really said that, but I always felt that. And anyway,
I've never heard it. That's really fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, because I mean, look at footage. Look at what Terry does, and then look at what Sean. I mean, Sean, they had their own style too, but Craig, I think, brought a whole different form. I've always felt he articulated in his head how he wanted it to go down. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah, yeah.
But then he brings all that gold over to Burton.
That's it. That's it.
And look out.
Once I looked into it, I was like, you know what? If Brad Dorfman hadn't been such a hothead about the thing, if he had been more calculating, there was a case to be made that Craig Kelly brought proprietary knowledge of Sims to Burton, which was detrimental to the continuation of Sims, with the advantage that they'd put the money and time and effort into. Like, there was a real thing there, but instead it just turned into like, fuck that guy. I got a piece of paper says he's going to ride.
Yeah,
for
that
us
was a
forever.
shame. Yeah. And I do agree with you. I think, not maliciously, but Craig had continuing proprietary knowledge.
No, Craig left for good reasons.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So there's another argument to be made that Craig left for good reasons. He wasn't being taken care of in the way that he was. But the team was so giant, and there were so many big, giant personalities on that team that you could, if you gave Craig $30,000 a year, that just cost the company $1 million because you got to give everybody
the dam just broke. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and as I told you before, you know, when that contract was going down, Craig lived with me for half a week or so, so we got a chance to talk about a lot of stuff. And I really feel like hearing him say those things at that time. No offense to Tom or Brad or Jake or anybody, Craig had a ceiling. He was pushing a ceiling. That couple weeks, Craig, not maliciously, was pushing the ceiling of where snowboarding was going, and he was trying to do something better, not only for himself, but he saw the sport as like
for everyone.
Like, man, this is where it needs to go. So I really, and you know, long story short, I mean, there were wild horses there that no one had ever heard of, and I know, like when Craig was with me, Tom would check in with me. He's like, "How's Craig doing? You know, take care of him, make sure everything's cool or whatever." Tom was really worried. But I get it. You know what I mean? He didn't have a ton of control.
Well, so allegedly, Tom told Craig, I'm not sending you to, I can't remember what, I'm not paying for you to go to some contest unless you sign this contract to me, not to Sims, the brand, to Tom Sims,
Tom directly,
the person. And wherever I go, you're my guy. So, like, it's kind of this double-edged sword where you're telling Craig, you're worth a lot of money. And I want you to be with me forever.
Right.
But also, I'm not going to pay you a lot of money because I don't have a ton of cash on me right now, Craig. And if I pay you, then I got to pay Todd, and I got to pay Terry, and I got to pay Sean, I got to pay like all these dudes, Chucker and and Roach and Chris. Like I just named off 10 of the top snowboarders from that era, and they were all on the same team at the same fucking time.
That's right. And
Tom Bird, Jesus.
Yeah, all those guys. Like, and so the ceiling was being pushed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there were so many guys doing stuff like that, like Tom Burt. You know, he had a different vision for riding. And Craig had a different for riding, you know. I mean, there were so many different guys that were doing that. Tom doing that, that was Tom's personality. I really feel like he was trying to protect. I think he loved Craig, and I really feel like he probably felt like this is all I can do. Yeah. And I really, I know and saw sometimes Tom would get pushed out from the vision stuff.
Yes.
So that, it sounds desperate, maybe it was, but I think that was Tom's way of believing in Craig. But like you're saying, that's a double conversation. Right. If Tom says that to Craig, Craig's like, oh, you're validating.
You believe in me. I have a value. I'm bringing that to Burton. Because, and sometimes that's the way it is. You're too tight. Your family, you know, you love your boss and you love your job. You just don't love the pay you're getting. Yeah. And they love you and the work you're doing, but they just can't pay everybody more money. But yeah, money just makes people weird.
It does, Eric. That's a great way to look at it in respecting both sides. And you know, I do remember. I can hear in my ear, Craig. He was choked, man. He was really
right.
He felt terrible about that whole thing.
He's ticked off, right?
And, no, but you're right. And I think we all just want to look at the best of that situation. And you could look at it as a piece of history in snowboarding where it grew in that couple weeks. That the boundary got pushed, not on the hill, but on the paper.
Yeah.
Of what riders could actually do, what proprietary knowledge was.
The roots of the foundation of the tree of snowboarding,
I agree,
were being laid by a calculating.
Yes.
I mean, look, we haven't even talked about the fact that he quit school to fucking do this. He was about to be an engineer, for crying out loud.
Yes. That was one of his dreams.
That's it. Yeah. And it just turned into this other thing. Thank God for all of us.
Right.
And it wouldn't have been the same if he stayed at Sims. It just wouldn't have been the same.
No, it wouldn't have been the same.
Would have been a different story.
Craig was an amazing leader, and he probably would have surpassed Tom in a different way. Nothing against Tom. It's just that Craig had a vision, and there was a lot of momentum and power there.
Yeah.
It was new. It was a new ceiling. Tom and Jake and Chuck brought ceilings in. But, you know, Craig was powerful, man. There were a lot of riders, too.
That's true. He was powerful.
So I think maybe, and I've always thought this in my heart, that might have been inevitable.
Yeah.
What if Tom had turned around and said, okay, Craig, we're going to do this. Here's what we're going to do. I always felt in my head a year later, he would have busted the ceiling anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, I got you. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. It goes the way that it goes.
Yeah.
You're credited with that logo on your arm right there. Yeah. You drew that, right? That's your art?
Yes. So I got to tell you, in the very, very beginning, so Tom and I were looking for a new logo to...
I can't believe it. I've been telling people for the logo for the FNRad podcast, because I want to do like a logo design. I'm like, we need to get the carve. We need to get the slash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody's done it. Like when you think of Billabong, the 3 waves, you're like, I want that, but the slash. Well, that's what that is.
There you go, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's what that is. That's a perfect logo. Well, for any company. It doesn't even have to have an S for the Sims.
No.
It could just be that logo. You know,
Tom and I were looking for a new aesthetic way to change the face of Sims and to push snowboarding further. And so I have to let everybody know, Tom and I did this together. I did 4 iterations of this. No one's ever seen them all. This is the only one that the public's ever seen.
Do you have them somewhere?
I have them all, yeah.
When we do our interview, we could get them out. Busting those out.
But I will say, and I'm happy about this, is that Tom was exceptionally proud of this, and we call it the triangle.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So
it's absolutely beautiful. It encapsulates that era.
Yep.
It was a dominant. I mean, it means everything from Kidwell to
everybody.
Noah's the last name.
Yes.
Means everything from Kidwell to Noah.
Absolutely.
It really does. And Al Clark and the guys to come beyond that as they grow and
Scott Blum right now, you know, I've been talking to him recently, and that whole new pack of cats, like those guys, they do such a good job at repping Sims.
It's so funny that there's a Scott Blum. For a second there, because I'm dyslexic, I'm like, wait, you're Scott Blum.
I know.
No, Scott Clum.
Yes,
Holy fuck. Yeah,
I know. Scott and I laugh about it, because I first
awesome.
saw him on the gram, and I was like, wait a minute, someone's picking on me. And Scott told me the same thing.
Right. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so he's a pro rider for Sims right now. He's fucking ripping.
Crushes.
Yeah, just absolutely rips.
Yeah, crushes.
And so you guys have talked about...
Yeah, we've been talking about different things and new era of Sims or whatever, but yeah.
Sure, of course. So, and Hillary's up here.
Yes.
It's pretty sick.
Hillary does an amazing job. She's very passionate. She, you know, when Tom passed... she had those are hard shoes to fill, and she put her life and a half into trying to pick up and do the right thing, and selflessly, because she wanted everyone to be taken care of. Okay. That's a big compliment from me to her, because she really did believe that. She did not want the people who love Sims and love Tom to be let down. And she, of course, she was here yesterday. Drives all the way up from Santa Barbara just to bring boards up and rap with everybody.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, who does that?
You put together, and now I'm not sure if it's just you, but you were a part of putting together the Sims Pure Juice trailer, which would have been it should have been a feature film 100%. And you've got some of the raddest footage ever. I told Sean yesterday that seeing him smiling, talking about Tom's style, and doing that move that you just it's lighting him up.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments in snowboard
Thank you.
media ever. It's so good.
Sean was great. I need to thank Sean for that. So thank you, Palm, because that was awesome. But yeah, I was excited to do a documentary on Tom because I feel like if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, a lot of history's going to go away. But a lot of people have things to do. It's not just me. We just had a hard time getting it out there. My partners, Eric and E-Rich, we put all of our skin, man.
You could see.
It was tough.
Is it still up? Is there somewhere?
It's still up.
If listeners want to Google Sim's Pure Juice documentary, that's it, right?
I think I'm not sure if you can get to it from that. What I should probably do, Eric, so if everybody's going to see this, I will get Eric a link and then you can post it.
I'll throw it up on my Patreon.
But yeah, there's some
first,
amazing stuff in there.
Yeah.
Tom at T-Bowls and some amazing footage. We had so much other footage that no one's ever going to see.
Of course.
And big thank you to Chuck Barfoot. Chuck was amazing. Wally was amazing. And Bud Fawcett.
Awesome.
So we were just barely getting it started, and I really feel like it would have been phenomenal.
It's I don't know if it's nepotism or what. You need to know certain people in order to get your shit going.
You do. I mean, that's all of us, right?
And a lot of people you have to, like, I mean, I saw Josh Brolin did the N-Men documentary.
Kick ass.
How fucking cool is that?
Yeah.
You've got Brolin, the actor.
I know, right? Come on.
Who's
supporting skateboarding
that's
in the N-Men.
fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's
and think,
cool.
you know, Randy and Steve-O were here yesterday just tearing it up, like making a great present. So it was
dope,
great.
dude.
Yeah.
So dope.
I love it. I love it.
All right, we did 20 minutes. That
okay, I love it. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you for this
I'm honored.
Legends of Tahoe episode. There's some good fucking gold in there, and it's really, really nice to meet face to face.
Thank you. My pleasure. And the biggest thing was, man, riding with you Friday, getting dusted and making turns, brother.
Yeah, that's it. Like, just that crew was just unbelievable.
It was so awesome.
And let's go out there and complete this
Eric.
half pipe event. Jesus.
Let's do it.
All right. See you. Number 63 and number 62.
I love it.
I love it.
Okay. That was sick.
I'm putting on Jacoby's pants right now. FNRad shout-outs this week to Scott Clum and the whole group of legends that showed up to ride Donner Ranch and take part in the Legends of Tahoe event. I'll be organizing a trip again next year for sure, which reminds me, I have to thank Bass and Fulton, Angie and the boys for organizing this year's trip and taking care of all the accommodations, the driving. Thank you, Bass. It was absolutely incredible. You guys are the best. If you're thinking about joining our Patreon, please do so. It's the best way to support the show. Be sure to come back next week for more bonus content from FNRad Snowboarding, brought to you by Skyview Campers and produced by FNRad Productions.